Hello and welcome to the first ever Privacy in Practice video. This will be a series where I share lessons learned from making and supporting a privacy-first web application. My name is Benedicta. I am the co-founder, senior developer, and mom of Lily Labs. We make POW, the private and flexible menstrual cycle journal. My hope is to make the concept of privacy first less theoretical and more practical, giving you that nudge to make a privacy first project yourself. When I started looking into how to make POW privacy first, I quickly realized I needed to encrypt all user data. I mean, this is the only way I can ensure that neither I or anyone else can get access to the data in any readable way. After months of research, 4 talks on encryption in web applications, I stumbled upon Userbase, a backend as a service that now handles all of the encryption logistics for me. So yay, encryption solved, privacy done, but not really. There are many more things we need to consider when making a privacy-first application. As developers, we've gotten so used to tools and services that infringe on users' privacy that we don't really think about it anymore. For instance, with POW, even logs on when and how often you log into the app could leak some data about your cycle. And to be honest, I don't really know how much of this type of data Userbase logs and how long it saves it for, but these are one of the things I should be on top of as a developer of a privacy-first application. I would say logs like that fall under a broader category, what we could call application monitoring. I will speak more about that, but also about analytics, billing, and marketing automation. If you feel I've left out a category, please let me know in the comments. I feel like Google Analytics is the kind of thing that's just standardly added to all website and web applications. But do we really want to feed Google that data? And do we really need that level of detail to be able to make decisions around our apps? For my project these days, I use Fathom, a privacy-first analytics tool. Fathom and its competitors are GDPR and CPA compliant by virtue of just not collecting any personal data, such as a user's IP address. They also need no cookies, so you don't need a cookie banner. In addition, the user experience for me as the owner of the site is much simpler and much easier to understand because less data is collected, but enough for me to make decisions off of. It's a win-win-win. As soon as you build somebody in the traditional way, they can no longer be anonymous and the purchase will show up on their credit card statement. For POW, this might be an issue for somebody in an abusive relationship or problematic family situation. I have no solution for this at the moment, but we are thinking about possible solutions for the scenario I mentioned and also users who might not be able to afford a tool like POW. As a side note, when we've moved all purchases to credit cards, which is kind of the reality, at least in Norway at the moment, it becomes much harder to hide something about yourself, maybe your sexual preferences or your political views, when all purchases of magazine, books, everything can be tied to you as a person. I would like to be able to send new customers welcome emails and then periodical updates about the app and advances in the menstrual cycle health space. It's a mouthful. However, doing this in a privacy-first way is harder than it should be. I looked at several services and MailChimp is the only one that lets you disable tracking, but you have to do it for every email you send. What is tracked? Well, for all of these services, they track whenever you open the email and whenever you click a link. Some services like ConvertKit lets you turn it off for the whole account, but you have to email support to get it done. Most of the tools though, especially the more advanced ones, really want you to track as much as possible. More data is always better in their mind. I could find very little information or discussion about privacy on their sites. I don't really need that kind of detailed information to make marketing decisions. And I also feel it's unfair if I share something sensitive and then track my users' behavior around that content. It's just not right. I would really love for somebody to make a Fathom-like alternative to these services. POW is in need of some kind of application monitoring. It would be really nice to get error reports before the users have to report them. but I am scared I might accidentally share some private information using these services. I have been looking at Sentry, and I think I might be able to implement it in a privacy-first kind of way. But I must be vigilant. Sentry, for instance, captures whatever the user does on the page so that it can add that interaction to the error report. Privacy-minded as they are, they do not capture input from the user. However, I am thinking if you have a button with an ID of cramps and somebody clicks that, that is then suddenly private information. And this is especially problematic if you do what they encourage you to do, which is to connect all of this data to a user profile. I hope this was a helpful and interesting summary of things you might need to consider if you're going to make a privacy-first application. I welcome all kinds of feedback, I really do. Please leave me a comment below. As you might gather, I do not have all the answers yet. But as I keep learning, I will keep sharing, so subscribe. Bye-bye.